the bodies and welcome. My name is Jasmine. If you are new here, this is the Proud Protea, where we talk about crafts, what's happening in life in New Zealand. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I'm from South Africa. I've been here about 4 months in New Zealand, Aotearoa, and we are loving it. We are in the second, almost the third week of January, and why I didn't record in the first and the second is previously as I try to push myself to do things, and I just felt so much pressure just because I started a new job and my little toddlers in school. So I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy my craft. I want to enjoy crochet and sewing like I always have. So I'm not going to push myself. I haven't done a New Year's resolution. I can't even actually remember when I did it. But I did set some goals to try and achieve, not necessarily push myself, just to attempt to do it. Previously, I worked in a very high admin position, so not having that sort of full stability, it did bother me. It did get to me a bit, but I am just working my way through it, and I'm going to take a note from my friend Cassandra at Craftably Ever After, and I'm going to say, just do it. Whatever I need to do, just do it. Don't just write it down or don't push yourself. If you can do it, do it. So yes, this year I'm just going to go with the flow and just do what I need to do. And what I'd like to do is talk about some yarn that I found, because this past 2 weeks, with obviously Christmas going, there's been so many sales. So one of the first yarn shops that I stopped at when we got to Hawke's Bay, which is in New Zealand in the North Island, was Skeinz. And Skeinz has been operating for many years. I will tag a link for the shop. They also do online. They have an online shop if you are in New Zealand. If you aren't, I'm sure maybe the ladies will help you out. So they sell pure New Zealand wool. They sell possum wool. They sell alpaca. They have a mill and everything. So when I first walked in, I felt very just out of sorts. With amigurumi, we seem to stick to, like an acrylic or a cotton. I've recently started using cotton rainbow 86, which I love. Thankfully, also to Cassandra. She sent me a whole lot of testers and Happy Mail last year. I still have a little bit of it. I've still got lots more ideas. I've also got a whole bunch of 8/4 colors that I've got to play with. So all exciting, but in true yarn fashion, I went ahead and bought more, even though I've got lots. But yes, so first thing I did was I went back to Skeinz and I went and got 2 balls of Southlander wool, which is this over here. Let me tell you, doesn't matter what wool or yarn it is, I still get excited. And even though I do believe that amigurumi with this sort of yarn is not ideal, doesn't mean you can't try it. So I did make a pattern. It's a pattern that I actually bought a while ago, months ago, purely because I thought it was a little Kiwi bird and I'm coming to New Zealand. We're going to become Kiwis. It's a very cute bird. And I tried to do it in the NZ, the pure NZ wool, more for a symbolic. So it's a Kiwi bird from New Zealand made by NZ wool. It came out beautifully, although I must say these little tiny things, this sort of wool is not ideal. However, I do have plans to make a few more because they make beautiful gifts. And I did have a look, see here, I will post a photo of him. I did use cotton. I used cotton 86, the cobby cotton, to do his little dangly feet and his beak. He looks a little skewed, but I think it's possibly me the way I'm holding the camera. I did do just a little bit of cotton thread here on the wings and whatnot, just to give it just a little bit of character. I do think that this little buddy needs some cheeks or a smile or something. He's looking a little gloomy, but every time I look at him, I think of him sitting on the shelf, like his little legs, Danley. How cute is So I will see if I can tag the pattern. I bought it on Etsy, like I said, long time ago. It was very cheap, I remember that. And then I found it somewhere for free. Lesson learned. I will see what I can do about sharing this little guy. He was actually very cute, very quick to put together. Next, I'm very, very excited. 2. My Joseph is finished. For those of you who are new, I've been battling with this little man for months. Not battling because the pattern's that difficult, battling to push myself to make him. Was just the art of procrastination with this little buddy. And I must say, he is beautiful. It's a reader. Apologies if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly. I will also tag the link. He is Joseph. It is a 3-part pattern, and in each part shows obviously some of the main characters of a nativity scene. So I just want to say, this is not beginner friendly pattern. I had to undo his hair a couple of times just because it didn't click the first time. However, beautiful. Look at, I mean, even the detail on his little robe, his hair, his hat. Look here. Beautiful. So I'm quite excited that I got one done, and I'm going to try, as one of my try to complete for this year, I'm going to try and do one piece of the nativity scene every month, just to get to the point where next year, well, this Christmas coming, I'll have the nativity scene to set out for my daughter. And it was something I wanted to do this year, but again, I pushed myself too hard, and then I lose the passion for the project. Not very nice, not very kind either to myself. I didn't do the little rope, if you can see, like they showed on the pattern, because it was a 4-stitch magic circle, which means it's going to be itsy bitsy teeny tiny and go round and round and round and round. Nah, I worked too hard to get this far with this little man to delay myself another week. So I just chained, and I still need to finish up this last little piece just to work it in there. Otherwise, very happy with how he came out. He's going to go in my display cabinets. Just because I'm so happy with how he came out, I'm going to display him the whole year. And Christmas, I'll just let him out the display cabinet. So, 2 things done. These are items that I made and completed while trying to do a tutorial to make these cuddle blankets. Previously, I've mentioned this in South Africa is called a spoegdoek. It is literally a terry towel that is crocheted around the corner. They don't normally do this sort of pattern. You can do any, again, black is the wrong color. And that is what I learned when I was doing the tutorial. Not only do I never normally use black because I battle to see it, or if I do use black, it's in small portions and I sit under a light. I try to do these 2. Here's a face cloth and here's the large one, just so that I could try and do some sort of explaining tutorial, because I know a few people have asked me. Thank you very much for that. I love getting those, and if I can share this one part of South Africa with anybody, I'm happy to do it. Normally it's a terry towel. We have a little picture, a little applique embroidered on it. See, it's nice and neat, embroidered straight on the cloth, and then we do the stitch around. It can be shell. It's normally a form of like a blanket stitch, like a pretty blanket border. And yes, so going forward, I would like to still do a tutorial on that. All a work in progress. Going with my goals to try, I've mentioned my nativity scene. I would like to do at least 1 video a month, at least 1 amigurumi a month. This year I'd like to make another blanket, just because every year for the last couple of years I have made some form of small TV blankets, or you know, for a family member or some sort. So I would like to keep up with that and make, I don't normally make these really big ones unless it's done with really chunky wool, because you know, it just goes so much quicker, it's so much bigger. But I would like to make another little blanket, and now that I've been into Skeinz and I'm my original fear of going in and seeing yarn that I have no idea what to do with, I'm ready to go again and to find some nice wool yarn to make beautiful blankets. Going forward, I'm going to be showing mostly craft. Has to do with crochet and sewing on my biggest one. I've recently bought a little cross stitch kit, also a little embroidery kit, just so that I can play with different aspects to add to my existing crafts. This little book is what I'm going to be using to keep notes, because I am a list person and it gets the better of me sometimes because I've got lists running everywhere. So I'm not going to go get another big old book like I always do, because I make such lists that I lose track when it comes to reading or talking. There's just too much going on. So I'm going to be trying a smaller book to make more refined lists. Try that one. Be easy and kind on myself. So some of the things that I've sewed previously, I bought a whole lot of these little ladies in my suitcase, and I've been giving them out to fellow South Africans. It's just something special. And going forward, I've already got little patterns that I'm going to try and sew. I was blessed beyond and gifted with, it's a very old sewing machine, but when they saw that I made toys and they weren't using it, they were just amazing people. They gifted me this machine. So as soon as I can get it cleaned, give it a little service, I'm going to start cutting up my patterns with beautiful material that I have bought already, because I couldn't help myself. I have a nephew or a niece due next year, and this is the longest that sadly any of my siblings or in-laws have carried a little one. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, it's a special. They are all special. So this auntie over here is getting super excited, super excited. And I went ahead again, bought more. This is cotton. I'm going to give it a go. If I think of thinness and so on, it says here to use a 3.25 needle. We are not going to use that. This is like a number 1. This is, I'd say this is 8.4 sort of density. I most likely will try with like a 2. But my favorite is a 2.5. So, oh my god. It's upside down. Sorry, yellow. So, upside down. Here's a full view of it. I'm going to give this a go to do with my little cuddle blankets that I had specially made with an elephant, because it's my favorite land animal, and a teddy, because can't go wrong with teddies, for this auntie to be. And this way I can start doing it with this beautiful soft cotton, so that the next time a friend or someone goes back to South Africa, they can take it with for me, just as something special. Here is the material. Oh, sorry for the noise that I bought. This is for the little rompers in the dress on the little toys I'm going to make. How beautiful. I love this. I love this. This made me think of home, made me think of South Africa. If you can see, it has zebras, lions, elephants. It's a safari. It's like a Land Rover Jeep. Makes me think of like Kruger National Park, or previously we had a farm and would visit Roodepan. So this makes me think indirectly of Roodepan. Yes, there's crocodiles. We own some crocodiles. So all lovely memories. Hoping to make some beautiful toys out of that. As we go along, I will share those. I don't want to share too much in one video because I get all excited and ahead of myself and I get nothing done. So, next one. Some beautiful gifts. I'm going to also put the details for the lady that I bought it from, because these are actually gifts that I'm sending home. But it was beautiful because I learned something in the process. This is from Earth Synergy, and it is actually, I'll take a nicer photo. These are the little, I want to say, glass jewelry. that you put on the bottom of your wine glass and so on. And most of the time it was quite a hit that they do it so that people don't get, you know, confused with whose glass belongs to who. But what's so lovely about it is that one has a karakeke, which is the little weave square. This is greenstone. I want to pronounce it, but I'm worried that I'm going to pronounce it wrong. So I'm going to just say greenstone, and I'm going to attach the real note, the name. And then this is power. This is from what I suppose the world knows is the inside of an abalone shell. In South Africa, I didn't even know it was called abalone, and I'm English. I knew it as perlemoen, which was black gold. And yes, so they make, oh, it's not focused, these beautiful, not focused again, beautiful little tiny gifts, because everybody that goes back is overloaded with luggage. So those are going to some special family members. They're not going to see this before the video airs because none of them actually know I have a channel. I'm still testing the waters. I'm still very shy. I'm still very nervous about everything, but we're going to change that. Another thing that I learned, so I never normally order yarn online unless I know the yarn. So previously I had my set yarn, which was Pool Skeinz, and I could order all the colors because I knew what I was working with. I knew what I wanted. And I bought this yarn thinking I'm going to make Buddy Bear 2.0. And that's also, we'll tag the link. It's from Cassandra at Craftily Ever After, my office soulmate. We were previously colleagues in South Africa. And I bought this specifically to make the bear and for my nephew one day. And when it got yarn, it's a lot thinner than I wanted it to be. But it's still beautiful, so I'm still going to use it. But it's not actually what I wanted it to be. And again, I don't know what the sex of the baby is. So we're just going to, I bought pink, white, and grey. Because we're just going to make one of each color. And when we know, we know. Doesn't really matter to us. All we're looking for is healthy baby, happy baby. But yes, this is done. Look how beautiful it is. It is super soft. But look how thin it is. That is not what you expect with this sort of, I want to say a chenille, or what is it? I'm trying to think of the name. It's almost like that chunky, beautiful chunky stuff. For the life of me, I cannot think of the word right now, so forgive me, people. I will find it and I will tag it in there. But that is all I have for now. And I want to say thank you again for the people that already subscribed to me. And yes, please reach out. I will put my email address as well if you want to talk, if you want to have a chat, if you want to share. I'm all ears or all eyes if it's an email. And just say thank you. And I'm going to try and remember to say this saying at the end of all of my videos, because I read this beautiful verse, and in the end it ended with stay humble and hustle, and it hit a point for me. So I'm going to say to everybody, stay humble and hustle. Thank you for joining me. Until next time.